What is up? Welcome to Hustle System. My name is Mikhail, and I help people master their mindset, build a better business, and help you live your life on your terms. In this video, I want to talk about the influencer trap and how to avoid it, because I see a lot of people trying to run the influencer model, and they're having a really hard time monetizing right now, ironically enough. So what I wanted to do in this video is really break down how you can avoid that trap and some things that I would do differently, especially for someone who is proactively building up a social media following, some things that I would do immediately right off the bat. As always, before we dig in, please subscribe down to the channel below. And if you've already subscribed but have not yet clicked that notification bell, please click that bell so you can be notified when I upload more videos. So what is the influencer trap? Okay? The influencer trap is chasing validation from external sources. I see people over and over again on Instagram, even on YouTube, going around and going, please validate me with likes, with comments, with all of these things, right? What ends up happening is they end up becoming kind of a slave to the system. They end up becoming a idealized image of what people want. They stop being themselves and they start being this perfect version of a human that people perceive them as. And I hang out with a lot of influencers that are very, very high up on the social ladder, so to speak, on the ladder of followers and likes. And a lot of them, in fact, almost all of them say the same thing. They go, well, you know, this stuff works, but really I wish I could be more myself, right? I wish I could be more me and express myself more. And I really wish I had a real business model. And that's the pain point that comes up over and over again. That's what I really want to hammer on in this video, is this influencer trap of having to rely on brand deals, having to rely on sponsorships, having to rely on ad revenue from YouTube, where unless you are in the top 1% of influencers on a particular platform, you're not really going to see the results that you want. And some ways to get around that are still beneficial to the platforms that you're on. I think oftentimes people will push people off platform. I think you should push people off platform. I think you should build your own list, but I don't think you should do that at the expense of the platform. I think you should do it synergistically, aka, for example, if you are a YouTuber and you're having a hard time making it, you start pushing people off platform. That creates a subscription model for you or a digital course for you. That gives you the money to buy better cameras and create more content on this amazing platform, YouTube, which we all love so dearly, which allows all of us to become creators instantaneously. I think it's a beautiful thing. But again, don't get caught into the trap of just being this influencer, this content creator. And so the first step to this is to actually start understanding real business basics, is rather than just creating an Instagram post or creating another YouTube video, start to look at what does it make, what things you need to have in place in order to have a real business online. Because if you take a look at a lot of the sponsors or the brand deals that you're probably getting, if you're at that point, and if you're not at that point, you know, everybody's kind of trying to get there, where people, you know, will pay you $5,000. Like I know a girl, she gets paid $5,000 a week, right, from a particular company, and she loves it. But at the same time, if that brand deal ever goes away, or if something ever happens to her particular account or channel, all of a sudden her entire revenue model has now tanked, right? And so I always recommend creating additional revenue models, and those start with, again, understanding business basics, right? Because that brand that's paying you for those brand deals actually has a real business. Maybe they sell a particular item, maybe they sell, you know, a particular set of items or subscription models, and you can actually do those things. You can become a self-centered brand, right? And take a look at Caitlyn Jenner, right? She became a monster brand by selling things herself, rather than just being the spokesperson for other brands. She created her own brand. As a result, became very, very wealthy from that. So the first step, again, to avoiding the influencer trap of just creating fun videos and doing all that's awesome, but start looking at real business model ethics. And these things include, so for example, capturing emails, okay? Being able to capture your own leads. Number two is having a product that you sell those leads. Number three is having a real retention model through customer support, through product delivery, through fulfillment, that actually supports that little micro community of your most loyal fans and followers that do actually go out of their way to, you know, take out their credit card and hand you money. That's a real commitment. That's a real transaction. That's a real vote that somebody makes with their dollars, saying, hey, I like what you're doing and I want more of that. And as a result of that, hopefully that allows you to create more great content on these great platforms. And if you're anyone who's associated with these great platforms that's watching, I highly recommend you stop slapping people for taking people off platform, because sometimes it's taking somebody off platform that allows them to be able to create more content on platform, because sometimes on platform the ad revenue is just not high enough for them to have a sustainable lifestyle and be a YouTuber, say, full time. So they end up having to juggle a 9 to 5, etc. Whereas if you master this, you can avoid the influencer trap and you can actually make a lot more money, exponentially more money than someone with a lot more followers. And as a result of that, you can do this full time, you can create a lot more content. And I think that's better for the whole community in general, and it's obviously better for you as well. Okay, so that's the first part, understand business basics. Number 2 is find the validation inside. Find the validation inside. I think, if you ever have that where you put a post up or video up and it doesn't do as well as you expect, you kind of get a little bit of a hit. I think let go of that aspect of your psychology and understand that the more that you seek validation externally, the more dependent you actually become on people's opinions, and people's opinions are very, very fickle. So, I've gone on like dates before where a girl will post something and she'll be like, "Do you think people will like it?" I'm like, it's great to have the consideration from the brand presence, right? But you shouldn't be reliant on that as a person. And you can tell sometimes it's like, oh, like if the photo's not good, then I'm not good. Well, no, separate the two, right? The photo is just an output. The photo is just a snapshot. The photo is a manifested and manipulated recreation of what reality is. And we're much more than just our photo, right? If you were to just take a photo of me, you can't be like, that's all that person is. It just doesn't work. So number 2 is separate the validation point. And I think what's cool with that is some of the top influencers I know, they're very confident in themselves. There's also a lot of insecurity there. Some of the top of the best, like the best of the best, they're very confident, but there's also a lot of insecurity. And I think it's because of this effect where it's like if you put out something and people don't like it, then it could tank your entire business model. And that's actually very, very dangerous to consider, right? It's like, wow, your entire livelihood is in the hands of this crowd of people now. So use step 1, again, mastering real business steps to avoid that, and use number 2, which is, for you to actually be able to validate yourself so that you can stay congruent, so you can blaze through difficulties where put something out maybe doesn't do quite as well, okay? And number 3 is secondary and third order of revenue sources. So rather than just doing revenue from your brand deals and from your advertising revenue, start creating your own brand and teaching what you do best. Maybe you just do funny sketches. If you do funny sketches, there's other people that would totally pay you to do funny sketches, right? If you're a huge influencer who does these cool funny sketches, like the ones where it's like, before relationship, then after relationship, right? Before relationship is like the girl gets all ready, she puts her makeup up, she looks all cute, and then after relationship, she like rolls out of bed, right? Those are funny, those are great. And there's certain methodology to creating those and making them great. People would totally pay money in order to learn how to do that. And you can actually teach them. And so instead of selling gold, you can be the person that sells shovels in the social media marketplace. So pretty simple. Again, how to avoid the influencer trap. For some of you, it might not be relevant, but I see so many people that are chasing the likes, chasing the followers, and they get caught in this trap of like the necessity for validation, the necessity for dopamine. Instead, ironically enough, do the boring stuff. Do the stuff that builds the real business. And then all of a sudden you find yourself having all the freedom in the world to do whatever it is that you want to do with your time because the money is there. And you're not dependent on a brand deal. You're not dependent on like any of these external factors. You're more in control of your own destiny, of your own business model. And that's really, really powerful. And that turns that influencer trap into an actual influencer empowerment movement, because now you realize that, oh, okay, all these followers that you have are now leads. You can push those leads to your products and services. And that's really, really powerful. You can build a whole business around that. Then you can retarget them. You can build all these cool funnels. There's a ton that you can do with that once you really learn to master it. We teach a lot of that in our 12-week mentoring program. Super cool. If you haven't checked it out, highly recommend you check it out. But besides for that, again, I'm just looking out for you because I see so many people go into this very weird headspace where if they're not growing, or if they're not like super growth, and if they're not getting validated, then they get kind of sad and depressed. And it shouldn't really be that way, because public opinion is very fickle. Humans' attention spans are getting shorter and shorter, and you shouldn't rely on that for your source of happiness. You draw that happiness from within, build a real business model, and then use that to drive the amazing content that you can put that out for all of your fans, followers, and most loyal supporters. So as always, again, how to avoid the influencer trap. This is Mikhail with Hustle System. I help people master the mindset, build a better business, and help you live your life on your terms. Love you. Appreciate you. I'll see you in the next video.